Is here from the Governor's Office of Recovery and Renewal. One of the things the Governor's very enthusiastic about is what he calls the Katrina cottages. Do you think that's a reasonable solution for some of these?
It will certainly go a long way to help a lot of folks who are in FEMA trailers now, and 41 days outside of hurricane season. These FEMA trailers, I've slept in my grandmother's when a strong thunderstorm comes. I can't imagine what will happen even in a Category 1 storm, much less something that we saw in Katrina. So the Katrina cottages, the idea behind them, there's not one design that would fit every homeowner, but the idea is to provide them something safe in lieu of the FEMA trailers, and in future disasters, the cottages would be used on the first day instead of the trailers. So it's a pilot project, and we think hopefully about 20,000 Mississippians will reap the benefits now.
What do you all think about the cottages? Connie Moran?
Well, I think it's an idea whose time has come. The Katrina cottage is small. It's 308 square feet, but it's higher ceilings. It has a nice porch. It has a fairly large room. You can live in it. It has a kitchen and shower and bath and 4 bunk beds, and you can turn around in it and live in it, and it can be attached to foundation to hurricane code. And instead of having 20,000 trailers at the end of the day, which are going to go on the trash heap, you have something that can add value to your property. People can put that in the back of their property as they rebuild.
Matthew, what is going to happen to those trailers? How many of them are in Pascagoula right now?
We've got about 5,200 trailers in the city of Pascagoula.
35,000 plus down here on the coast? Are 37,000 plus? Are they going to become projectiles the first time a storm comes through?
Well, we hope not. We have gone to Washington, asked our federal delegation to assist us with federal dollars to help us build a post-storm facility. In the city of Pascagoula, we do not have a Red Cross certified shelter because of our elevation. And so we've got to look long-term as to how we assist our residents, get these folks out of these FEMA trailers. And I think the concept that Brian mentioned is a wonderful concept. And especially for our more tenured residents, we've got to come up with a plan. We've got to do it quickly.
Right. Mayor Bishop, how is it in Moss Point? How many trailers are down there right now?
Well, we have over 1,000 trailers currently in the city, and I think we've pretty much met the basic housing needs of most of the citizens there. I applaud any viable alternative to trailers simply because while they may serve admirably as a short-term solution, we're obviously looking over the long haul and trying to meet the housing needs of the residents here on the coast, and the trailers just won't be able to do that.
Right. Anyone else have thought about the trailers? You want them out?
Yes.
No, that's can't right now. I mean,
right.
This is it. You have to use them right now.
We're grateful for them. I mean, our people would be
where would they be? Yeah, they would be on the streets. Some people over in your area are still living in tents. We were over there a few weeks ago, and there's some people who are camping out in tents.
You mentioned the faith-based. Some of those are some of the faith-based organizations that clearly we could not have started our recovery without these folks, and they have been instrumental in the recovery of the folks in the city of Pascagoula. I noticed this morning there was a church van from North Carolina at the end of my street, and that to me has just been overwhelming. That's been my minister said this is the biggest Christian revolution since Christ walked on earth, and I agree with him.
Connie Moran, you had a thought.
Well, not only for people who own their own properties, but of course people whose apartments were destroyed. Right now they're living in egg sites. It's just clusters of small FEMA trailers where FEMA comes in and puts in the infrastructure, road, water, and sewer, and that leads to trailer parks. And I think what we'd like to see is more neighborhoods with cottages than trailer parks in our cities.
WLOX did a story last night on their newscast that we saw in the hotel about security in those parks. A lot of people are very afraid in those parks. Have you had?
We've had more drug arrests since these egg sites and these FEMA trailer parks have popped up than in our history of our town. It is I'm sure it's probably true in every city.
Same thing with us.
Same thing in Long Beach.
Yeah.
There's not enough FEMA regulations. Again, they don't allow you to know who the sexual predators are. They don't tell you the criminal histories of any of these people. And I had a very tough debate with the FEMA people that came to our town a few weeks ago. They were fixing to open up a trailer park there on what's called the Desport property. They don't release any information, and they were very hard-nosed about it. And I think it's that creates a dangerous situation because it's across the street from Warrior, from the Abbeville High School.
But you can certainly understand their feeling about people's rights to privacy. But still, what protection, Billy Skelly, do you have in your neighborhood?
You tell me. I mean, that's what you're trying to find out who's there. You're trying to find out if it needs to be a red flag on a sexual predator. You need to know these things, and you can't get the information. You end up just having to actually make the arrest after it's happened, and whoever it hurts, you just have to deal with that. But it's always after the fact.
Tommy, how's the crime situation in Waveland now?
It's we've had a pretty good handle on it. You know, FEMA's not set up to respond to a natural disaster of this catastrophic size. It's an emergency agency, and they respond. And as far as transitional housing in the long term, there's going to be a lot of lessons learned from this, and unfortunately, you know, at our expense. But I think that if it happened again, a lot of things would be different. And I don't know how we could have gotten homes or people in houses. Homes is a real misnomer, but into a structure without the FEMA trailers. We didn't have a building 1,000 square foot left in Waveland that had 2 walls left to it. So we, you know, it worked, but the transition in putting someone into something more permanent that for the long term that they could build out, like the Katrina cottage or something, I think in the long run would have saved the federal government, taxpayers, a lot of money, and it would have been something that was permanent, and it would have helped people get back home quicker.
David, what about in Gulfport?
Well, you know, one of the changes a little bit on, one of the problems is you have people who, in these trailer parks, who are business people, people who are, you know, pillars of the community.
Ryan Sanderson's grandmother, right?
Right. And right next to someone who may have a criminal history. So you have a real mixing in these trailer parks that causes a real problem. And we've been very lucky in Gulfport so far that the egg sites are not that large, but I can see as it gets warmer and more people wanting to get out more, it's going to become more and more of a problem.